Hello, everyone. I'm Brian Gonzalez. I'm excited to have Michael Collins and Kristina Francis joining me here today as we have a discussion about AI, which is a topic on everybody's mind these days. We have just released a report that really focuses around AI for economic opportunity and advancement, and we have a call to action. One of the things that I wanted to do today is to get the benefit of the insight of Michael and Kristina on some of the topics that are very hot in people's mind and some of the opportunities that they see. And I'm going to frame with also some of the concerns that are out there regarding this new technology. I want to start off with a question here to both of you. What do learners and workers gain from the emergence of AI?
One of the things that we want to make sure of is that everyone's lives improve with the advent of AI. So that's AI in life, AI in the workforce. And I think, Brian, as you said, AI is on top of everyone's mind in one way or another. And I think for us, in the conversations that we have, we know that one of the biggest concerns people have with AI could be job displacement or replacement, right? And while it's true that AI is changing the way we work, we believe that we need to move beyond just improving existing roles. We need to look at how AI is also fueling new business models and new industries and new opportunities for livelihood, right, for individuals. One of the things that I was just in a conversation yesterday around every technological advancement creates room for new job creation. And I would like us to help position individuals and industries and businesses to create new types and new ways of business. Michael, what do you think about that?
I think you said it perfectly. The only thing I would add is that in all of this, we want to just make sure that, what is uniquely human, is elevated. And we want to make sure that human capability in AI is prioritized.
And I think to that uniquely human, it's interesting just thinking about AI now is automating a lot of repetitive tasks, and it is providing the opportunity for people to be more creative, to deepen their critical thinking, to influence their leadership and teamwork. And so to that point on uniquely human tasks, it's an opportunity really to shift how we are training people to include those type of durable skills.
And I do a lot of work at JFF, and throughout my career, I focused on worker populations. And we want to just also ensure that all workers are able to leverage it.
Just to kind of wrap up on this question, what specifically should be done so people can realize the potential of AI? Kristina, you talked about the benefits. There's also some concerns, but what specific actions can folks start to take to help realize the benefits of AI?
I think one in the workforce right now, and we've had conversations with large enterprises that are already doing this is by allowing worker innovation, as we call it. So allow workers to be part of the adoption process and to co-create those new processes and ways of working for the business. So have them at the table. And so that may require new policies, new incentives. I think the other thing is making sure from a training and workforce perspective, to Michael's point, that we are prioritizing those human strengths. How are people thinking about decision-making, negotiation skills, leadership skills?
Yeah, I think Kristina named it. I think the only thing I would add is we're going to be thinking a lot about kind of how AI creates efficiency, which is great, but we also want to think about how we are augmenting and improving kind of job quality, not just efficiencies and what we can cut, but are there ways that we can elevate kind of what humans can do, improving the quality of jobs and not diminishing cost savings and efficiency, but also just leveraging kind of, again, going back to that human capability.
Wouldn't it be nice if we can design jobs around human genius and human potential?
That's what we're headed to. I think that's what AI is going to that's what we're headed for, right? You hear a lot about kind of job disruption, but we also are seeing evidence that jobs will change. And I think that human talents, we will need to ensure that we are elevating them. I think this is the time.
Thank you both. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Kristina. I think what we hear here is that there's a balanced approach. There's opportunities. There are concerns. But really, it's what we do about it and some actions that we can take to make sure that we get the potential that's out there for all of us with AI. So one of the key elements of our call to action is around learning and career navigation. I want to put it out here to both of you. How can people benefit from having knowledge of AI tools?
I can start us off. I mean, with regard to kind of learning and kind of navigation, technology allows us kind of innumerable ways, right, to kind of learn and to see what might be possible for us. So I think that the challenge and kind of opportunity here is to really support kind of learners and workers to take advantage of AI technology. One, to kind of get smarter about their work. Both that can be AI and technology related, but just get smarter about their work. There are lots of resources out there. But with regard to career navigation, I think AI is so powerful because it can really help people understand their best bets. But one of the challenges, I think, is like contextualization. AI can tell you a whole bunch of things that you might be able to do, but I do think we want to make sure that some of that is in context, right? So some of that has to do with who you're interacting with, who you know, those kinds of things. So not just getting people just endless information, but actionable information.
Yeah, I can pick up on that. I mean, as I think about the future, I really think that AI literacy and competency has to be a foundational skill. I mean, you all may remember when we were learning computers, right? Where we would go into computer class and type in QWERTY and learn how to move and all of that. I think we're at that same place now with AI and making sure that everyone at all levels understands AI foundationally, but then also more than that, how to actually use those tools to understand how they work or how they learn, how they can build and really start creating with them. I think, Michael, to your point around, AI supporting data, there's career navigation, as you mentioned. There's also the opportunity for more precise information around place-based jobs, right? And what does it look like to leverage AI tools alongside labor market analysis that can show us really the skills and jobs that are in demands in places. And the other area I think that is really interesting, having been grown up in a family of educators, is how AI is enhancing teachers and the opportunity to educate students, not replacing them, but really being a tool in the hands of those who are creating our next doctors, lawyers, innovators, and entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I think it's also interesting that, with this technology and on the career navigation side, really kind of supports for, it's interesting. It's not just about jobs, but also learning, right? So, there are industry specific AIs, there are multiple ways that people can learn about AI. And so how are workers supported, right, and steered to the technology and the opportunities in AI that are going to be specific for what they need. So I'm just thinking about, there's AI for accounting, for finance. They're different, right? Like different kinds of AIs, and helping people kind of navigate to the ones that are going to support them in their work, I think, is also important, and support that's needed.
Absolutely. And one thing you and we've talked about a lot are how AI can help address the barriers that we typically see. And one, to that point around learning and even just career awareness and preparation, it's how can people, particularly those who may not have awareness of careers that are out there, start to get personalized information based on their desires, based on where they are or how they've spoken in other areas, to really understand all the career opportunities and skills that are available, not just what they have seen from their parents or in their communities, thus opening up, I think, a wider array of opportunities for both students and workers.
You both talk about the need of AI training as a necessary skill, but how do people that may not have access to that training, how can they get that skill that they need to be successful? How do we reach out to the folks that may not know about it, or may know about it, but feel that they don't have access to this new learning opportunity?
And Kristina, I'd love your thoughts on this, but so like the internet, this is it's going to be a life-changing technology, right? And we do want to ensure that everyone has access. So I think the issue is also kind of quality, right? Because we know that there are different types of AI, and who has access to kind of the most robust, I think is also an issue of fairness. One of the things that I think that we need to think about, and some of what we talked about in this call to action, really is employers being able to kind of prioritize opportunities for employees to skill, to train, to learn kind of AI. I think is one important, like, how do we make it not something special, but something that is foundational kind of learning and opportunity is one. Kristina, I'd love to know your thoughts on this.
It's funny. I always hashtag partnerships work, right? Everyone who knows me knows that that's where I head. And I think, we've said things like this is an all hands on deck moment, and this is AI is a team sport. I think to really get AI in the hands of everyone, all stakeholders at the table have to play a role in this. And so that is, to Michael's point, maybe partnerships between education providers and employers. It is the community business organizations and partnerships that are infusing AI in some of the work they're doing, whether they're focused on sports or bowling after school or reading, whatever it is. How are we getting AI incorporated into these community? The other thing I think that we really need to make sure that we are getting the dining room table discussions to include AI and what the future looks like. And so how do we enable and empower parents and caregivers to really help start those discussions, so that as workers, learners, students are in these environments, they're listening and hearing for the opportunities to learn AI and to incorporate it in their day to day.
But Kristina, in the call to action, we do kind of advocate, for AI literacy to start kind of in K through 12. So love that you kind of called out some of the broader pieces, not just the employment piece.
Michael and Kristina, a point I want to bring up in terms of folks, we talked about folks needing to get new skills around AI. But what if I'm already in my job? What can I be doing as someone in my job or looking at an opportunity to start something new in the area of AI? How would I get the skilling for that? Where do I go?
Yeah, I think people should raise their hand and say, I'm interested. Bring it to a manager or a colleague or someone, if you're in the workplace already, to see if you can engage in what already is happening. Or if there's not something in place, maybe you can be that individual to help your organization move forward. So that's one. I think the other is not being afraid of learning and wanting to learn the skill and testing things out, right? I think this is a time for creativity, a time for bringing this technology to life in a way that helps you as an individual, but then maybe your team or others. The other, I think, and Michael talks about this a lot, is around social capital, right? This is a time I do believe individuals should seek out mentorship or engagement with others outside of your immediate circle to see what they're doing, to see how they're incorporating this technology into work and learning.
Yeah, we did some survey data for this work, and people are using AI at work. Sometimes they're upfront about it, sometimes they're not. But kind of encouraging employers, right, to encourage innovative use of AI and kind of incentives for rewarding people that are innovating, I think, is also a really important part of this. Another important thing I think we need to kind of foster is it really is that kind of allowing this technology to help us get smarter, faster, more innovative, and circling back to like, how are we rewarding people for that? I think is a really important thing for us to talk about. How are we rewarding people for that innovation?
Yeah, and I can give a couple examples also, just as we are learning from our entrepreneurs that have been in residence or others that we're working with. Taylor Sheed at Stimuli is using AI and having her team use it for onboarding, for example, as well as improving the services that they provide. Same as Manny Smith, who's running Advisorly. They're now engaging AI both for their team as well as the studio that they have. And we, Brian, we just spoke with Jared at Career Village. He's got the 30-person team, and he's been hyper focused on making sure even his non-technical staff are really engaged. And so what does it look like to incentivize, as Michael said, all of your employees to bring some ideas to the table? It only advances the business and the individual's skill as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the risk here is that, people are worried if they're able to do something faster. And again, that's why I go back to kind of the incentive. What are the incentives? What are the rewards when people are using AI for innovation, even if it's creating an efficiency? And there may be a function that's no longer needed. So rather than punish kind of that person by loss of a job or loss of task, how do we reward them and for that innovation?
Thank you both. Really great insights. What I get out of this is that in this moment in time where we see AI all around us, we can't just be spectators. We have to engage. We have to look to where we can augment our capabilities through the right levels of skills training. And from an employer perspective, there's an opportunity to encourage experimentation with the tools, making sure that people can understand and get comfortable with them. And so it's a great opportunity to learn and engage. Let's all go out and learn what we need to know so we can be successful in this opportunity that AI brings to us. One of the topics and one of the areas that we highlight in our call to action is the role that technology plays. And I think you can look at it in terms of the technology more broadly, specific tools, and also an element of trust in terms of our competency to use the technology, and also in confidence in terms of the output that comes from the use of technology in the context of AI. So I want to start with, how do you see AI tools supporting people? Let's start with the tools part of it. How do you see that to be working in the context of our call to action?
I'm happy to start and pass it over to Kristina. With regard to tools, there's so much that we're learning, right? So I think that, for my case, learning about kind of AI, digging into it, starting out with very rudimentary tools, but knowing that there is a comprehensive set of tools, some of which are really robust. And the issue is, like, how do we get people to understand the tools are out there, that there are different types of tools, even industry specific tools, helping them understand which ones make sense kind of for them, but also it's not just kind of the tools. I think that it is an understanding that these AI tools and this technology is a fundamentally kind of life-changing technology, and that people, whether they want to or not, need to engage these tools. Like the internet, AI is something that we are all going to be using. So if you are a worker, if you are a learner, it is critical that you begin to understand which of these tools are out there, some of their capability, need to be increasing literacy around these tools.
I think what I would add to that, to Michael's point around understanding the tools, and there are free and low cost tools that people can use that should be made available through education institutions, workforce training, other areas. But then we have to move from understanding the tool to truly adopting and integrating that tool into learning and work. And I think that's where employers and companies play a large role, in investing in AI upskilling for their employees, but also incentivizing those employees to leverage and utilize those AI tools. I think the other area, and we talked about job design going forward, is really thinking about how do we design our jobs so that human capabilities are improved using AI skills rather than looking at just replacing workers. So that's just another area to look at.
One of the things, Kristina, that I worry about a little bit is that it's the very, very kind of rudimentary use of the tools. Like, so some people, you're doing queries and you're using maybe some AI tool that helps you with your writing. All of that is terrific, right? But we do want to ensure that people understand there are ways that you can use this technology that can produce, tremendous results, right? For the, your efficiency on your job, your effectiveness on your job. We're already seeing data of performance improvement, like in big ways. We talk about in this call to action, we talk about the opportunity to also, people are, increasing their livelihoods, with this technology. And so it's critical that we support people to deepen their understanding of the different kind of tools that are out there and how they can benefit both them kind of for their work life, but also kind of more broadly. Part of what we're trying to do here is to ensure that everybody is better off, through use of these tools, through use of this technology, that we are all better off.
I think, Michael, you hit it on the head, right? We've got to move beyond AI supporting emails and writing and some of that important, but what we would call lower level augmentation. I wonder, I see this as a moment to really up level. And how do we get to leveraging AI to really transition and transform the most challenging issues that we have? One of the things right now, there is bias built into AI solutions. Yep. And so how do we look at inclusive design and getting all voices at the table to now utilize AI for making improvements into our lives? That also includes investing in representative data sets, right? Making sure that the data sets that we're creating include all populations that need to be included, and also testing with those populations as we go forward. And this is a way really to look at community innovation, community design, inclusive design as we transform the future.
As someone who is increasingly kind of engaging facial recognition technology, I am very, very concerned about kind of the bias in the algorithms. I think it's absolutely critical that we increase trust, or that we have addressed some of the bias in these technologies. I think that is very important work to do. Even with the concern about trust, we've done some survey data in communities that you might not expect are using these technologies. They do see that the power in them, and if we can resolve some of the trust and transparency issues, I think that we could perhaps even see greater growth and use of these tools, which I think is really important.
I think you've really covered the wide spectrum of areas around the technology that's coming, the tools that may be available to help us augment our capabilities and elevate our capabilities, but also the fact that we need to have confidence in terms of the technology, also have the competence that we talked about earlier about gaining the skills required to use these tools, and bringing everything in a very responsible way to create an environment of innovation, but also one of trust. We've talked a lot about the different pillars and the areas around technology, around learning and career navigation. We talked about opportunities that this new technology can bring. But how do we support all of that? What are the systems that have to be in place, especially around the education and learning systems and kind of the broader workforce systems? These are new technologies that are coming at a torrid pace.
Yeah.
How do we prepare our systems to support us?
So, I've worked in kind of post-secondary reform, kind of workforce development for decades. And I'll have to say, like on the post-secondary side, we're not known for moving very quickly. Very traditional. We've done things in the same way for a very long time. And so AI, it creates a challenge for us. People are learning through these technologies very quickly, differently. We don't really have a way to credential or kind of identify kind of what they're learning. So on the post-secondary side, it's not a part of our system. So I do think that we have a lot of learning to do. Even if you think about kind of curriculum, programs of study, how might they change as a result of the AI technology and people being able to learn faster? Some things, some content being obviated because of AI, right? Like us getting caught up to what all that means for our post-secondary systems is work that is underway right now.
Thank you. Kristina.
One of the things that I've been thinking a lot about, and I know our teams have been talking about, is this moment that we're in right now, right? Training programs seem to be out of sync with employer needs, and therefore people are underprepared for the workforce, and employers are experiencing labor shortages. And so one of the things we've got to think about right now are how do we train, how do we credential, how do we support workers to evolve to the needs, not only for right now, but for the continued evolution that AI is going to provide, right? We're expanding into a whole new era. And so we need to make sure that the data is informed to support education programs, that learners are gaining the skills that they need that actually lead to jobs and to quality jobs. So one thing that to really think about is how the system itself, how we can support training providers and employers and making sure that they can map programs to true jobs.
Thank you both. I think the discussion around systems, and both from an education and workforce, it really comes down to making sure that we all stay ahead of what's needed and that we can provide the feedback and get engaged in terms to make sure that the data is there for these systems to represent what we need to have. And we can also look at some of the case studies and use examples that are already happening and how we incorporate that. So that becomes the way forward. So I want to thank you both for the insights, for the engagement today, and for the conversation. And as we know, this conversation will continue. So thank you very much.